Everybody, it's 5 o'clock. We're going to call our meeting to order. If you can stand, please. Have a moment of silence. Thank you. I understand we have some students here that might be willing to lead us in the pledge. Come on up, if you will. All right.
You guys can come over too.
I was going to say the volleyball
team can come over.
Ready?
They're all like, no.
This way, right?
All right.
You're coming all the way up.
I love it.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right.
Hello.
They're fine. It's good.
Dr. Reynolds, they're in your jurisdiction. Come on up.
You want to lead us out? Go for it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Perfect.
All right.
That was one of our better pledges.
That was very good. Okay.
I believe in the United States now.
Top that.
That's right.
I'm into the season.
I think it's going downhill from there.
Yes.
Very good.
Now they're gone.
All right, we'll call the roll. Mr. Williams is not here tonight. I am present. Mr. Heater.
Present.
Mrs. Barnes Griffin.
Present.
Mr. Irvin.
Present.
Mr. Lowe.
Present.
And Mrs. Washburn.
Present.
All right, wonderful. Dr. Reynolds.
Yes. Hey, thank you. I have a few things to share tonight. Maybe housekeeping, just a reminder that we have early release next Tuesday for professional development for our teachers. I know we had a couple of days last month for parent-teacher conferences, which were very well attended in person at our elementary schools, and just excited about those opportunities that we still provide for our parents. Have my CEO Parent Advisory Committee will kick off next week with a representative from each building. I'm going to sit down and have some conversations about what's going on in the district, what's coming, and just gather information from them, what they would like to see and hear and know about, and how they can help be ambassadors for the district. I'd like to recognize Dr. K. Dr. K was recognized today by the Indiana Business Journal as a top 25 influential, one of the top 25 influential women in Central Indiana. Still working with us and for us in her capacity at Marion, but just really excited for Leanne and that honor. She's not great with honors. She likes working behind the scenes, but certainly is working for us and always an advocate for the Muncie Community Schools. We had our George and Francis Ball Foundation had their launch of the Opportunity Blueprint 2030 recently, and showcased a lot of the work going on within the Muncie Community Schools and, of course, across our community partnerships. Just a tremendous celebration and rollout of the new Opportunity Blueprint for the George and Francis Ball Foundation in collaboration with the Muncie Community Schools. Wanted to share that. And then also we'll wrap up with athletics. We have lots to celebrate with our athletics at the high school over the last few weeks and in the coming weeks. The football team is having a tremendous season. They went in last Friday playing for the conference championship against Lafayette Jeff. Unfortunately, come up a bit short. The game was pretty close, maybe not as close as the final score, but it was a tremendous game. So they ended conference play at 4-1 and regular season at a 5-4 overall record. And we'll have sectionals this weekend at Marion, who we've beat once this year. So they're looking forward to that game. And then if we would happen to win that game, likely that the next game would be at home if the bracket goes as it should or as it's seeded. That next game would be at home on Halloween. Cross-country teams, they had a good showing at their sectionals last weekend at Marion at Indiana Wesleyan University. Sending 4 of our girl runners. Will be heading on to regionals to compete. And then the entire boys team will be heading on to regionals. They were 4th overall. We'll be heading on to regionals. And that will be at Huntington University. That is a tough course. Starting to feel a little like fall, so it'll be a good chance for our teams and kiddos to compete. And then finally, we have a lovely group of students that have joined us today, and I really wanted to showcase. These folks are your conference champions in volleyball. Would the volleyball team, will you guys please come on in? All right. They all have about a 3-minute speech prepared. Ms. Hughes said that they're all ready to speak and to share about their experiences today. But they are the North Central Conference champions. That is awesome. Awesome, awesome. Just so proud of these students. Goes to show you what some tremendous coaching and some great parents and great students can do. So thankful for Ms. Hughes and her team that I'll let her introduce. But so appreciative of these kids sticking it out. It's easy to not stick with it when there's turnover. We've seen that happen time and time again with athletic teams and music programs. So these kiddos stuck it out. And worked together and had a tremendous season. I would call it a turnaround season. Just so proud of these kiddos and the coaches. Would you mind just introducing yourself and your year, and then we'll end with Miss Hughes. If you would wrap up, just say a few words about the team and your coach, and introduce your coaches. Okay.
I'm Kendall Kale, I'm a junior.
I'm Chloe Miller, I'm a senior.
Haley Rollins, I'm a senior.
I'm Grace Walker, I'm a senior.
I'm Ilana Davis, I'm a junior.
I'm Kenley Moody, and I'm a senior.
I'm Lacey Johnson, I'm a sophomore.
I'm Elias Ullman, I'm a junior. I'm Emma Jennings, I'm a junior. Leah Rollins, I'm a junior.
I'm Jocelyn Sutton, I'm a senior.
I'm Brooke Alexander, and I'm a junior. I'm Ariel Vaughn, I'm a freshman.
I'm Maeve Quick, I'm a freshman. I'm Rima Patterson, I'm a junior.
Oh, hello. She wasn't ready. She stepped out of her way and she wasn't quite ready.
Okay, so my name is Kate Hughes and I'm the head coach. This is Jocelyn Roberson, assistant coach for the varsity team, also a Muncie Central alumni, and currently a Ball State student. This is Martin Canavan, and he is also a Ball State student as well, was the JV head coach and a varsity assistant with our team. So we really honestly had a wonderful season, finished the year 19-12, which is excellent. It's the first winning record the program's had in quite some years. So that was really, really nice. I knew we had a very special group when we worked in the summer, and they were just really focused in every single day about getting better. I talk to us always about just becoming the best that you can possibly be, not always comparing yourself to the person next to you, just becoming the best version of yourself. We talked about that pretty regularly, and they really bought into that motto. And it actually went on to be the motto that we heard. That you can see in the back of their shirt that kind of mottoed our whole season and what it was. And then our very first game, I knew we were in for a fun season when we had a reverse sweep of the first team that we played. If you don't know what that is, it means we were down 0-2 and won the next 3 matches for the next 3 sets to win the match, and a really hard fought game. And so that was a lot of fun. In fact, actually, most of the 5-set games we played, we only dropped 1 all year long, including 3-set matches that were best 2 out of 3. We won most of those, and that's really hard to do, just because you get tired, and so it's a big mental part of the game to be able to win a best of 3 or a best of 5 match in 3 or 5 matches, and we won the vast majority of the ones that we played. So that's definitely a huge, huge accomplishment. Including one of those 3-set matches was against Richmond, which we played in the regular season. And then we So that was our first North Central Conference win. And then we went to Lafayette Jeff 2 Saturdays ago, and we swept every team that we played. We didn't drop a set. So that was really exciting. And you know, other teams, I always think other teams have some really good players, and we just looked incredible. We took their best players out of the game and had a plan of what to do, and they were able to handle that. This past weekend in conference or in sectionals, we played incredibly well on Thursday. Won on Thursday, played an incredibly hard fought match on Saturday morning. Came up just a little bit short on Saturday morning, but when I always talked about growth of a team, maturity of a team, we were able to flip our defense and play with less than 12 hours notice our defense, what the other team was doing, to make us more successful. And it's one of the reasons that we were able to go and be very successful on Saturday morning. And so that's a huge testament to them. They played really well, they worked hard. And I'll leave you with this final note, and these students don't know this. It was just announced today that 4 of our seniors were named Academic All-State. And not only that, we're named the Gold Medal Academic All-State team. So, and that is Chloe Miller, Haley Rowans, Grace Walker, and Kinley Mooney.
Awesome. Guys, thank you so much. Anything anybody wants to share? Mr. President Williams is not here, and I know that he would ask that, so in honor of him, anything you'd like to share?
You know, what's incredible about their season is I don't see a lot of height, which means you played hard, other than the end. Normally the middle when we get into the North Central Conference, they got like 6'2", 6'3". I don't see 6'2", 6'3". So awesome what you guys achieved with your height. Anyway,
awesome.
Yeah.
Kinley? You started walking towards the mic.
Yeah.
Well, Kate did a lot of bragging on us, but I think as a whole we were very appreciative of her and just her drive to make us not only better players but better people. So I thought we should just thank her for that.
Oh, awesome. Anything else, guys?
Great job.
Awesome.
So
Great.
where's Mr. Walker? He's supposed to say, "Go Bearcats."
Mr. Walker, you want to send us out?
Go Bearcats!
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank
Thank you.
Awesome.
So true. There's no height there.
Just fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
19 and 12, you know who will play, right?
Yeah, it shows how hard they play.
Are you done?
Yep. I'm sorry. That is it.
Okay. Mr. Ambler,
Yeah, good luck, Eric.
Westview.
Good evening. I feel like I need to posture down here. Good evening, Bishop O'Neill, Dr. O'Neill, Dr. Reynolds, board members, central office staff, parents. Thank you again for bringing your kiddos if you're still here. We have the pleasure this evening of going over a lot of our school goals. So the 4 big pillars of what we're really having more of a laser sharp focus on this year. And I'd like to introduce Mrs. Agnew, Ms. Davis. Mrs. Agnew is she's our master coach for our school. Ms. Davis is our assistant principal. And then Mrs. Shin is our PTO president. So she'll be sharing towards the tail end of our presentation. So we're going to be talking about our reading goals, our math goals, our behavior goals, and our attendance goals, which is something that we've really been echoing in a lot of our meetings, our professional development, being very purposeful in the learnings from our summit. And you'll excuse me, I'm going to go on and off with my glasses. I'm in that season of life. I need to read it here and I need to see you there. So, but without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Agnew to discuss and share our reading goals and strategies for this year.
So we were told to kind of keep it simple and sweet, so that's what we're going to try to do. Okay. No. There's enough of that. No. So our I read scores were not what we wanted them to be last year, to be quite honest. And so we've made a lot of pivots and changes this year, including staffing, getting extra volunteers into our school. We have almost 30 volunteers from Ball State that are LED 100 students, or some of the athletic teams that are coming in and working with our students, whether that's volunteers in the classroom or reading buddies, and we're just kind of getting excited about having those opportunities. We also have Kate Elliott, who's working and getting some volunteers from the writing department at Ball State into our school, and just kind of meeting some of those needs that we just need more hands. So we'll get to that in a minute, but that is part of our goals too, is to get those helps that we need. So our goal is to increase that I read. That's number one. Also for I Learn, we're wanting to increase the summative score by 10%, as well as the checkpoints along the way. Last year we were piloting the checkpoint, and this year we know a little bit more about it, and so we're still trying to figure out how to mesh that with our CKLA curriculum. We were just given access to IXL, that platform, this year. So teachers, staff, admin, we're all still learning the IXL platform, but it has a lot of correlation with our I Learn checkpoints. So we're hoping that those two will really increase the capacity to practice those skills and spiral those skills. Some of the other things that we're doing, our teachers are using that IXL platform to weekly be able to get a diagnostic read on our students, and it finds the trouble spots a lot more quickly than sometimes we can individually with paper or pencil. It shows us those graphs very quickly. Our partnership with Marian University, the cadre, every 2 weeks, I do a 2-hour Zoom, and I learn something that I can pass on to our teachers, and that's been very helpful. Even over fall break, we had an asynchronous one that I think is actually one of my most favorite ones that I'm really excited to talk to the teachers about next week. Mr. Ambler's big on anchor charts, and so we've really pushed the anchor charts this year and using those, and we're even letting some of the kids take those home, and they kind of go home and teach their siblings. Kind of a fun way to let them teach outside of the classroom what they're learning as well. Like I said, our curriculum with iReady and CKLA doesn't have a lot of spiral opportunities. And so we've moved into some flexibility within our reading block and math block to get more practice. We feel like that was one of the things that we were lacking last year, and kind of showed up in our scores. So teachers are using that transition time on the way to specials or on the way to the cafeteria. We're even kind of coming up with some challenges during library time for different capacities of them using those skills, and not just at their desk, but real life challenges, competitions where they can earn some rewards. So we're excited about those things. Our MTSS focus has changed a little bit this year. We're getting some different ways of communicating with teachers and parents and those students that we're kind of the most concerned about. So that's been exciting to see that process really bloom this year. Another thing that I'm most excited about is our teachers are all ability grouping during our reading lab and math lab times. And so instead of trying to differentiate between each classroom, they're doing like our high, medium, and lows, as far as abilities, and they're really able to pinpoint even within those groups, they can differentiate and hit the needs of those students. And we're seeing a lot of improvement already, and we're still in October, but I'm very, very excited about the potential that we are seeing in that. And then, I go back to all those hands on deck. We have 81 EL students at our school this year. And so we need those extra hands to help, because teachers, as hard as they are working, it's hard to meet the needs of students who are coming in with no English language knowledge. And so it's been endearing for me to see the teachers really want to come together and figure out how to help those students. And it's also been fun to watch our students in the classrooms having empathy for those students who are new and trying to help them along. So, as hard as those moments can be, it's also endearing, and just to see that they're building the capacity to be a good citizen of the classroom. So those are some of the things that we're kind of doing to help with our English language arts.
So Kelly had mentioned a couple math things that have carryover as far as some of the strategies that we're using, especially IXL. So she stole a little bit of my thunder. I'm going to steal some thunder from her or send some thunder her way. But one of the things with regards to those EL students that we've also had that challenge with is to really get our ESL teacher, Sadiq, get him embedded with those ESL kiddos from an approach more so of intervention to give them really what they need. So that's something that is a big change that was an apparent need and a critical need, while also being able to service our other students in intervention. So as far as our math goals, I was never a math kid when I was coming up because I didn't have very effective teachers. And so when I came into the role of a teacher some years ago, I really gravitated towards a lot of aha moments, and a lot of those in the practices that I had in my own classroom that our teachers are doing are a lot of the strategies that you'll see here in just a moment. But as far as our increasing our iLearn math scores, we want to increase that about 10% or more. The or more is what we're really stressing. Last year overall for 3rd through 5th grade iLearn, we were sitting at 33.7%, but we want to raise that to 43.7 and beyond. Our first benchmark, we've already passed that. That was a couple weeks back for math. Our goal for that first benchmark from the piloted year, which was last year, was what we had actually gotten was a 30.3 in 2024. We aspired to increase that 10% to 40.3. We actually fell about 4% short of that goal, but we still had growth nonetheless at proficiency or exceeding proficiency. One of the things that I take a lot of solace in, though, is that 14% of our students were approaching. So if we can get those kids over that hump, over that bubble, we're looking at 50%, which would be that exceeding is what we want. We always want to exceed. Nonetheless, we're still moving kids forward. We just need to get them going. And to get there, the math strategies that we are implementing, this is across the board with ELA, reading, and math, are anchor charts, implementing and creating those during lessons for student references, teaching references.
Describe what an anchor chart is.
Anchor chart, so there's some examples up there. So for example, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally as the one here, PEMDAS, but that's a very quick and easy reference to use for students, and a lot of those are created in real time while they're being taught. That's one of those things where teachers can refer students back to that if they're working in small groups. They can actually take those anchor charts down. One of the things that Kelly had talked about was we can actually send some of those home with students. But basically, when a new concept or something along those lines is introduced in the classroom, that's where we're anchoring our attention there. We're anchoring, there's vocabulary that's in there. There are conceptual understanding. There's rote memorization. There's definitions.
It's foundational.
It is. It's very foundational. Correct. And in some of the modeling that I've done in a couple classrooms with anchor charts, because it's very near and dear to my heart, that's why I want to see it all over the building, is that if there's a student that is forming a conjecture or they have a connection, they have prior knowledge, if you put ownership, you put that child's name on that anchor chart, that really breeds a lot of attention. It gives, like I said, ownership to that, and it could become Mr. Heater's rule for rounding. So it's a great
round
tool.
Up. Always round up.
You know what? I would love to. That'd be awesome. Yeah, right? So did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Gotcha. I couldn't see your hand raised because my glasses were on. Yeah. So in addition to that, spiraled review for previous checkpoints, student justifications, which is a non-negotiable, particularly with math, so they're showing their work. I had and I say this, it sounds a bit backwards, but I had the pleasure of taking all of our students' justification papers and all of their student work for the first checkpoint. We have to collect all of those. They're secure, so I could take them to the shredder. It was a mountain of work. It was awesome. It had strategies on them. I can't tell you exactly what it was because of testing integrity, but I was very, very pleased to see the volume of work that our students produced with that checkpoint. Continuing on, essential vocabulary, we're leveraging some IXL applications where we can actually build our own quizzes and make sure that we have that content-specific vocabulary. for not only ELA and reading, but also for math so that we can get our kids well-versed in that. We also have Title I Family Nights. We have an MTSS focus that Mrs. Agnew also talked about as it relates to ELA and reading, ability grouping there again. And then also as much time on task as possible so our students can get a leg up and take advantage of every minute of our school day. So other than that, I'd like to welcome Ms. Davis up to talk about our school goals for behavior.
Eric, before you pass along, how many students do you have at Westview?
So we have right around 538-ish or so. We've got some more enrolling. And so we're right around the 500, 550 mark. We're getting closer.
You said you had 81 students that are learning English.
ELLs.
How successful have they been with
Well,
achieving the math and
so I would have to disaggregate that data and I can get that answer for you.
Just kind of curious.
Sure. And so with the language barriers that they have, they do have accommodations for testing. They're in small groups. And so, it's for our students who are native Spanish speakers, they do have an opportunity to have what's called stacked Spanish on their assessments so that they can toggle back and forth between Spanish and English. And so that's an advantage that those kiddos have if they have, a lot of our students who are native Spanish speakers are in our dual language program, but that's something that's an embedded accommodation that we can give them through those individualized learning plans for the ELs.
Thank you.
So, but as far as the other balance, the other majority or the other large population of our students speak Dari, Pashto, and Arabic. And so Sadiq, he speaks those languages and more. So he's able to help them as much as he can within the confines of testing.
I have two questions. Can you speak a little bit more to like the October checkpoint for reading? So checkpoint number one, it says increase 21.1%, up to 31. I didn't hear you say kind of where was the checkpoint for October?
We take that next week.
Next week.
That's coming up next week. The 27th is when that window opens and it runs through the first part of November.
Okay.
So those checkpoints are staggered for math and
Okay.
reading.
And then under math, the 14% that were approaching proficiency,
Correct.
like what gives you the approaching? Like what were you looking at? What showed approach? What does approaching mean?
It's part of their scale score. So they were close to the cut score for proficiency.
Okay.
So they're approaching proficiency. So it's one of those quartiles.
Okay. So like
So they're
almost, I mean, I know they're almost there, but like,
sure.
is that just
So,
curious what
we
almost
could
there looked like?
Sure. So we could designate some of those kiddos approaching. They could be 1 point away. They could be several points
Thank
away. Yeah. So it's a range of their score.
Thank you so
Sure.
much.
Any other questions? All right. I'll turn it over to Ms. Davis.
At Westview, we also have a strong behavior goal. Our goal is to decrease the number of out-of-school suspensions by 50%. So last year we had 100 and, I'm gonna have to do what Eric does, up close, 192. This year, our goal is 96. It is also to decrease the number of special ed out-of-school suspension by 20%. From 55 to about 44. Our goal in October was less than 25, and right now, when we hit October, we had 12. So we are doing some really great things with behavior, ensuring that students are aware of what the expectation is and where to go from there. Our upcoming goal for January is 33. I'm hopeful because those winter months get a little bit busy for kids when they can't get outside, run around and do what they like to do. But I feel like in March and May, I'll be able to, in January and March, I may be able to bank a couple to take me through May. So I feel like it'll be good. Our strategies that we're using right now is monthly positive behavior convocations for students who have no referrals. So if you look at the pictures where we have Muncie Central, their football team came out, we had a convocation with the football team, and if you had no referrals, your name was possibly pulled from a group of students who had no referrals to participate with the football team. And there's our great new coach, really enjoying him. With that being said, this month we will meet with the soccer team and do some great things with the soccer team. So every month we are incorporating the high school with us, not every month, but as much as we possibly can. And then we also have some other great things in line for the other months where we don't have a sport going on at that time. Another one of our strategies is for students with 3 or more incidents of out-of-school suspension. They are flagged by the behavior coach. And with that being said, the behavior coach will pull those students, talk to them about strategies, talk to them about ways to work through self-regulation. And today I feel this, but I don't have to do that. I can be better. I can be a different person, even though I'm feeling those things. Another thing is that we are working with teachers. So we are looking at how many referrals teachers are sending in. So if Mr. Grimm is sending in an enormous amount of referrals on a regular basis, then he too will meet with the behavior coach and discuss strategies, discipline strategies, and also giving resources on how to work with those students and how to set up guidelines that would help them be successful. Another thing we are doing is our school site has we're creating behavior groups. One thing we're doing is friendship groups. A lot of times you have bullying because kids don't have friends. And so when we are able to identify those students who don't have friends, we put a group together to have them kind of work together. We're also doing social emotional groups to talk about their feelings, talk about what are we doing with those feelings, how do we work through those, how do we self-regulate. And the last thing we are working on right now is grief groups. A lot of our kids, believe it or not, are going through some very strong grief in this season. I don't know particularly what's going on, but a lot of our students have lost parents. They've lost grandparents who are a great influence in their lives. And they're just trying to pack all those emotions in those little bodies. They're trying to figure out, what do I do with this? How do I move forward? Where do I go from here? And so because of that, we give them an outlet. They meet with one of our school psychologists to be able to talk through those things that they themselves are feeling on a regular basis. As far as our referrals go, the numbers are down. And also we are really working to be sure that kids understand what creates a referral, what mandates that you go to the office, what happens when you do this, then your teacher has to do that. Why is that? And then making better choices. So those are the things that we're doing. Do we have any questions, comments, or concerns?
You shared a couple, but I was going to ask, what were the precipitating outside factors that were causing students to have to be suspended? But I heard you say bullying, and then there are some grief groups. Are there other things?
We don't have a great number of students bullying at our school. That's not something that's big, but it is something that happens if students don't have friends.
They don't have.
If I don't have friends, it is something that will cause me to choose I'm going to get your attention, whether it's good or bad. And so if I can get your attention by annoying you, poking you, nagging you, that's what I'll do. So working on positive ways, we're doing a lot of positive reinforcers with our students. Mr. Ambley has a ticket box outside of his door that he pulls names on a regular basis for students to either come down for prizes or come down and help with the pledge or just to be recognized. In a school of 540 kids, it's always nice to be recognized because it's very easy to feel unseen. And so if I do bad things like I saw this one do, then that might make me be seen. But if I know what the good choices are and what I should be doing to be seen, that would be helpful for me as a student.
And then you came from Southview
Yes,
Elementary, and now you're at Westview.
Yes,
Is that to really to help with the strategies around behavior or what?
Well, I think it's just a little bit of everything. I don't think the move from Southview to Westview was good, bad, or indifferent. I think I made a lateral move. I think I'm able to bring a lot to the table, but they already have a lot on the table. They're doing amazing things at Westview, and so I'm just the cherry on top. I'm just
We'll take that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Have to refer to you.
Cherry from now.
Gotcha. All right. So continuing on with our goals, our attendance goals, it's pretty straightforward. If you're at school, you're there. If you're not at school, we want you to be there. And so increasing our daily attendance, last year we were at 93.1%. Our goal for Westview and across the district is 94%. Our benchmark, excited that we have already surpassed that for October. So we actually were at 95.5%. I checked it again today, and if Tony Perkins, our student assistant coordinator, is watching this, she's probably at the edge of her seat and knows the data probably far better than I, probably down to the thousandths place. But we were at 95.94 through September, and then when I got this prepared, we're at 95.5. So 95, we'll round it up, right? 96, we're going to try and get there. So our benchmark, we've already surpassed that. But I think that's a testament to a lot of the strategies that we're using, monthly attendance initiatives, our WVCA, which Mrs. Shen will talk more about here in just a moment. They've really been helpful in supporting our initiatives, supporting our strategies. They always have and will continue to do so. Family communications with information on our compulsory attendance laws and things of that nature, the changes at the state, some of which are chronicled in the little packet that I prepared for you with our newsletters. But those are all things that we want to make sure are versed and are shared and are on our breath when we're talking about those things. Instituting new clubs to increase engagement, student engagement, particularly to Ms. Davis's point. And we have almost 550 students, and if you have an opportunity to be seen or to do something, we're looking to extend that. We've got art, math, bowl, and cheer. We'd like to, and we also have a literacy club. Field trips, we've tried to push a lot of field trips with culminating activities. Kids love to go on field trips. There's one coming up this week, another one next week.
Where are you going?
Camp Adventure. So all of our dual language students are going to go out to Camp Adventure for culminating activities. You're welcome. It's going to be, they're going to be talking about the Renaissance, medieval times. There's going to be Mr. Mike, our counselor, he's a falconer. So he's going to have that demonstration. If I can make it out there to knight some people, we'll see what I can do. So it's going to be a fun time, but it all goes back to wanting to be at Westview, wanting to be at school, being engaged in curricular types of things that we're expanding upon, and that we're really making kids, helping kids make memories that are going to last them a lifetime and really build their capacity as being learners and facilitators of each other's learning, their own learning, and really taking it further. That's really what we want to see and instill in our students. But we also have attendance challenges from time to time, and then Project Attend referrals and home visits. Those have been helpful for those kiddos and those families who have been chronically absent in years past. So, any questions about that goal? Okay. Well, I'd like to turn it over to Mrs. Shin. She just wanted to share some things We appreciate her time as well.
Hi,
Hello.
I'm Adriana Shin. It's nice to meet you all. So I'm the president of the Westview Community Association, which we refer to as the WVCA, which is a mouthful. My husband and I have 3 children currently enrolled in Muncie Community Schools, all of whom have gone through the dual language program, 2 of whom are at Westview, and then 1 in honors and the dual language program at Northside. As I mentioned, my work is with the WVCA. We are a nonprofit parent-teacher organization that has a history almost as old as the school itself, which is pretty incredible. We are a small but mighty board made up of the people who truly deserve the spotlight. So I would just like to mention them: Amy Cornett, Anna McGlinchey, Julie Nichols, Jessie Shin, and Gail Werner. And also the many board members and selfless volunteers that came before us, including Katie. In my time with the WVCA, I am incredibly proud of the work that we've done. Over the years, we have worked tirelessly to meet the needs of teachers, staff, and our families, whether this has been through purchasing curriculum, paying for furniture, rugs, school supplies for teachers, purchasing a classroom set of coding robots for our PLTW class, and funding numerous school events throughout the year, and truly so much more. The work I'm most proud of are the ways that we lift financial burdens from our families. For example, we host 2 scholastic book fairs every year. When I first started, I made it my mission to provide each of our almost 550 students with a free book. This means instead of taking any profits, we funnel all potential revenue from the fairs into purchasing a book for every student, ensuring everyone is included, which has been tremendously impactful for our kids. We've also been honored to help with more intimate and personal needs, such as helping to provide clothes or sanitary needs for students, donating to a family who lost their home in a fire, or helping to cover the burial costs of a student we lost last year, something that no family should have to navigate. So I like to say we don't just believe that we are to be good and faithful stewards of our money, we truly act upon it. And our mission is to ensure the entirety of our school feels supported, including our families. Briefly, I'll mention one of our current projects. In September through, oh, you know what, I don't have that picture, but the picture that you see on the left is one of our scholastic book fairs, and then the one on the right is of a volunteer night that we hosted in which the students made they made paper flowers and Valentine's Day cards that we then delivered to a nursing home. But this September, through the efforts of our fundraising, we were able to purchase new furniture for our library. As many of you probably know, our library had been closed for several years, in part due to the pandemic and then also the construction at Westview. So last year, for the first time in several years, students were able to walk the aisles of our library. So being able to continue breathing life into the library by providing new furniture to create a truly appealing and engaging space for students has been a joy for us. So as I reflect, I can just say that I'm utterly humbled and grateful. I've been inspired by the many people who support our work and care so deeply, not just about Westview, but the children who are our community, our future generations, our future community leaders, parents, and educators. So thank you to Eric and Sean for graciously supporting us and always letting me hang out with you guys at the school and being a champion of the students. So thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Oh, those yours.
All right. Well, hopefully I did a lot of, we did justice with time and whatnot. If not, I apologize. I'll do better next year. But I would be remiss if I did not make mention of, just of the things that we individually shared with this presentation. Each and every one of us up here, as well as many of our teachers and staff, our hands are in absolutely everything. I'm not just married to math, I'm just highly interested in it. But Sean has been an amazing thought partner. Kelly has been an amazing thought partner as well. We're all in this together. It's not my school. It's not her school. Oh, there's a cherry on top now. No. It's not Mrs. Shin's school. This is our school, and that's something that I've said for years. It's something I believe in. I believe in our students. I believe in our parents, our teachers, and staff. And it's a pleasure to work there. And it's even on the most challenging of days. But that's just what we do. It's our school, and we love it. So.
Can I ask you how the facilities? How are things holding up with the new
Awesome.
renovation?
Awesome. We are to the gills. We are filled up. In fact, as soon as we opened the doors last year, we were right back at capacity. We've got just third grade and second grade alone, we've got 100 students per each of those grades. We are still fortunate that we do not have class sizes that are unmanageable and unreasonable, particularly to support our students. They're growing. Don't get me wrong; they are growing, and we've made some shifts as far as classes and teachers and things of that nature. Space has always been at quite a commodity, and so we're lucky to have those challenges. I think that the population growth that we've had in this is my 9th year at Westview. It's been not exponential, mathematically speaking, but it's been a couple hundred students since I started there. We are a different school than what we were those 9 years ago, which is a good thing. We shouldn't be the same school.
Right.
And that hopefully that's evident in the strategies we're using, the goals that we have. But I think that our increased growth is a testament to our school, our collectiveness, and what we want to achieve for our students.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so, did you say 200?
So
The growth?
just about, very close to.
Wow, where are they coming from? Because you've got a defined region, right?
We do. The only exception to that would be dual language, and so as we've grown that from each year that we've had that, our first cohort are now 8th graders, and so that's something that's very exciting to be able to say. And so as we continued that program through the years, and Dr. Bell could tell it better than I, because this was a lot, by and large, the development of this program, laying the groundwork. Each year that we've had that program in existence, we've added a classroom. So that's contributed. It's also, we had space to fill. We had some spare rooms when I first started there, but those obviously have I want to say overrun. That's kind of a big term, but we've continued to grow. We've added sections of grade levels. We have 3 across the board. We've got 4 grade levels or 4 classes of each grade level, with the exception of first grade, where we have 3, one of which for each of those levels is a dual language classroom. And so give us the space is kind of a field of dreams situation.
Thank you.
So.
And then Adriana, is it Adriana?
Adriana.
Adriana, sorry. How are parents and folks engaging? Are they engaging with PTO?
Yeah, I mean, so when I first started, it was a kind of a call to action. And so I was like, well, I guess I'll do it. And then I really, quickly fell in love with it. I fell in love with Katie knows. Yeah. I think Katie knows. You do. And then I am fortunate that I have the capacity to be at the school and really do the work, because it is an incredible amount of work. But we've tried to make sure that we can reach families. So we've recently made sure that all of our meetings are on video calls, and that we are working on getting a translator for our families who need Spanish speaking translation, which is huge, because we really truly want every single parent there. We don't want there to be any barriers. So that's been a really big goal for us, just to make sure that, you're always welcome in person, but you're always welcome to email us. You're always welcome in our video calls. And we've had a lot of support from our teachers in getting the word out too. So it's been great.
Thank you. So,
Thank you. Yeah.
so I'm not going to take over. Maybe I will. Sorry, just a second. But at the nail shop, like I'm everywhere, but I had a wonderful conversation last week, and it was probably the whole time that I was getting my nails done, but it was really about Westview Elementary.
Oh, I love
It was
that.
a mom who has a child who is special needs and just talking
Okay.
about the care, right? And concern that you all show because their daughter is new at the school this year. And then also talked about the connection and feeling connected because
Oh, I love
of
to hear
PTO.
that.
So it was just really, really, really good stuff to hear.
I thank you for sharing that.
And I don't tell them I'm on the school board till after they say all the things.
Yeah, no, that's the way to do it. No, that's great. I
It's
love
good
to hear
stuff. It was
that.
really
That's
good.
really
Thank
sweet.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The kids were fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know what? They don't have much to work with. I think a couple lip glosses, and she's trying to get into my phone. They knew what they were in for, so they did great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Excellent. Okay. Do we have any, Mr. Klotz? Do we have anybody? Andy? All right, let's go on to our consent agenda. Are there any items on here that we want to highlight or discuss? I do want to thank McGuff Roof for that generous donation. That's pretty significant.
Need a motion?
And nothing else, we need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. Mr. Derone, you're up.
Thank you. Included in your board packet is the financial information for the month of September. We're just cruising toward the end of the year. September is 9 months, obviously, in our 12-month calendar year. So almost through October here as we sit here now. So just trying to end the year within our appropriations. The first thing I want to report on is our ADM count, the enrollment count. We came in officially at 4,893, 4893. That's up 21 versus the February count. So we were up 21 versus February at 4,893. And versus October a year ago, we were down 15. A year ago, we were 4,908. So happy to report we're up versus February, down versus a year ago. When we prepared our budget this summer, we prepared it based on 4,865. So we were actually up 28 versus when we did our financial information for the board and for our budget process. So basically, we were trying to budget and forecast a pretty flat enrollment, not a big increase or not a big decrease, and it really came into that. So what you see here when I report the next item there on my dashboard of the projected revenue for the state basic grant at $47.6 million, we'll see probably a change at our November board meeting, because then the state will then start revising the estimated revenue for us on the state basic grant based on our actual enrollment that we turned in October. So it'll probably go up. It's going to go up a little bit to reflect that change going higher. So that's a positive thing to report. So
Round up.
I know, round up. There we go. So I thought that was a positive thing to share with the school board tonight. Basically, we're within our appropriation levels, still projected, a little over $30 million at the end of the month of September. Our state loan is down to $6.2 million. We paid $5.7 million over the period since 2020, and that's still an outstanding loan through to June of 2028. So we're sticking with the original plan on that. The next couple slides are just, I always like to show our cash balances on the big charts graph, where it just shows where we've been. Even if you can't read it, you can see the trend. The trend, clear on the far left, was in December of 2018. That was a little over 10 million in the bank, and we're now up over right at 30 million on the far right. What you see there in red, that just reflects the state loan that we have continued to pay down after it reached the high of the 12 million that we were given. The next graph just shows what that is if you subtract out the state loan. So very, very, positive items to report. The next one was the appropriation level, and that basically just says we're still within our expected appropriations. About a year ago at this time, I think I came to the school board and asked for additional appropriations. We did not have to do that for this fourth quarter. We feel like we will fall within the original budget appropriation amount, so I did not have to come to the board and ask for anything more. And that really pretty much wraps it up for the financial report. It's in December, we did close on the, need to report that on the bonds. We did sell bonds last week, 9.9 million with our current construction project, and sold those at 3.11%, which was very good per our Baker Tilly consultants, what they had told us. And we'll close on that and receive those proceeds by the end of November. So that's where we're at on that. And of course, those particular bond proceeds will help us fund the project, the first wave of our 2025 project, which those are a multitude of things on roofing projects, door projects at Muncie Central. The biggest piece of that project is the boiler chiller at the Muncie Fieldhouse. So we, believe it or not, we received bids. We will receive bids on that particular first part of the project for the chiller and the boiler at the Fieldhouse next week. So as long as we stay within the overall project, 19.8 million, we're going to be real happy. So anyway, that's our report.
Thank you. All right, we've heard the report. I think it's an action item. We need a
Move approval.
Second.
moved and seconded. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. Social media resolution?
Yes, so if you recall, a few years ago, we approved a resolution in conjunction with our attorneys at Church, Hiddle, and Antrim to get into, to join a litigation for vaping. What you have in front of you today is a resolution authorizing litigation against social media companies. This is a statewide, national-wide litigation campaign against social media companies and the impact that that's had on school districts, particularly ours, but those across the state, across the country. This resolution has been vetted by our attorneys and is ready for approval.
Anybody got any questions?
By joining this litigation, there is no cost to us to do that.
That is correct. That is correct.
If there is a settlement of any kind, any fee would be paid out of that.
Yes.
Similar to the smoke or the vaping litigation that
Yep.
we joined in the past, right?
Yeah, we received settlements, I think two proceeds out of that. And we've brought those in and used those towards revamping of our handbook and partnering with community groups to have alternatives to suspension for vaping. We would these proceeds, we would have the same flexibility. I would guess, just the conversations we had with our attorneys, that this would be drawn out a little longer than the vaping litigation.
Move approval of the resolution.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. Health insurance.
Thank you. Also presented in your board packet tonight is the item we bring to you once a year, is our, to discuss the health insurance premiums, medical, dental, and vision for the next calendar year. Very happy to report to you for this particular process. We're requesting permission to approve our medical insurance quotes for medical, dental, and vision for for the 26 plan year at no increase. Once again, I think this is the third year in a row for no increase. You can't believe how incredibly difficult this could be to have no increase. A couple things have gone our way. We have continued to have lower claims versus expected, and that's a big key right there. So we're generating funds that go into our self-insurance balance, and I mentioned that in there. It's about 2.7 million, so that's increased from a year ago. It's increased since the start of the year. We do have a self-funded plan, so we're riding that wave of good claims, and on their recommendation, we're taking no increase, and that's a very positive thing for our employees and as well as us, Muncie Schools. For medical, dental, and vision, the company is still Anthem. A couple highlights with that. We will still provide, as we have the last 3 years, $1,000 for single plan for contribution to their HRA as well as their HSA. You have to sign up for one or the other if you so choose. $2,000 for single plus one or $2,000 for family for the HRA or HSA as mentioned. No changes for the dental vision. Premiums for employees, that will be the same. The only change listed there is we had to do it per the IRS. For our medical plan B, that's the one considered the high deductible healthcare plan that's tethered with a health savings account. We have to follow the IRS regs. That single deductible has to go from $3,300 to $3,400. And we would plan for an open enrollment for all our employees the middle of November to the middle of December, about a 30-day window that we like to do that. That gives everybody a chance to get signed up if they so need to make that change. So very happy to report that in your packet or included as attachments to your packet. We just printed out the expected premiums for what the employees pay, and once again, it did not change. So that is our recommendation to the board tonight.
All right, thank you.
Quick question, do our retirees get to continue to, no, they have to go out on their own plan now?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
But they did at one point, didn't they used to do that?
Yes.
Something like that? And that's, okay.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
You are right.
Sorry, somebody made a motion.
I think I heard a motion. Mr. Irwin. Mr. Lowe, second.
Oh, second.
No.
Oh, you got a second.
We got a second.
You said low second. I thought you said no second.
It was real low. I just said low second, low. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. All right, compensation.
That'd be me. Thank you, Pastor. It's my pleasure to represent the Compensation Committee, which included Dr. Washburn and Jim Lowe, and we were joined by Dr. Reynolds and by Brad Jerome in our conversations. Compensation this year, this is the third of the groups. I think from a process standpoint, we start with our teachers. Then we evaluate support staff, and then ultimately we evaluate administration, much of which is based upon where we stand with our ADM and where we expect our budget to be going. So performance evaluations were held with our administrative staff and compensation and performance rubric with our folks who are in the school buildings. In addition to that, we evaluated, and what Brad brought to us was some evaluation of the market. Obviously, that's important to us as we look at people who are in buildings, leading those buildings as well as the district. We also evaluated resource availability, which is something that is a little bit out there today of question with some of the legislation, impact of legislation. However, the recommendation that we have come to is an overall increase to the administrative staff of $105,000, which is a 2.7% increase. That number is relative to our teachers' increase of 2.5, and in support staff was a little less than that at 1.2, but they also qualify for a stipend, which can put their increase in their compensation at a level well above 2.5% if they stay and are in good standing with us throughout the year. So overall, this recommendation of $105,000 or 2.7% would create a total compensation increase for the year of all employees of Muncie Community Schools of 2.2%, which we think is what is appropriate for us today. So, Dr. Washburn or Jim, do you have anything to add to that conversation?
Probably can't explain it as well as Chuck can, but all the administrative staff have a rubric for KPIs that they are evaluated on.
Yep.
Correct? Maybe you can explain that.
Yeah, so they just as a quick review, the building administrators all work through the National Institute for NIET, the National Institute for Excellence in Teaching rubric that we used for the evaluation. And then our district administrators, they have SMART goals that they are evaluated on. So in addition to those pieces, we also looked at school data and evaluated that as an additional factor when it came to their evaluations.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions? On behalf of the Comp Committee, I make a recommendation for approval of administrative salaries as presented.
Do we have a motion?
Second?
Any other questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. All right, great. Policy review.
All right. In your board packet, you found all the policies and then the highlighted red line versions of what we've added. I guess just to summarize, most of those changes in there were due to updated legislative requirements. Aside from the new policies that we've added, that would replace just our practice that we had in the district office through the last couple of bond rating meetings that we've had. They have asked for our debt management plan, our cash balance and liquidity plan. They've asked for those, and those have just been practices instead of policies. And we worked with Church, Hiddle, and Antrim to adopt two policies that reflected our practices. So those last two pieces were new, and that was kind of the impetus of adopting those.
So we can approve all of this at once, is that right? All right, do we have a motion?
I have a quick question.
Yep.
I should have asked you earlier, Brad. I was looking at the cash balance liquidity policy.
Yep.
I see the section that talks about fund balance, educational funds.
Sure.
Minimum 2 months, recommended 4 months. What do we have for operation funds and rainy day?
We don't.
We don't.
The
Okay.
policy that we wanted to do for this one is to focus on the educational fund.
Just education.
Because this had come up with the Standard & Poor's with the bond rating. They're always so curious as to what is our policy, and I would tell them, well, when we were sitting there with really the last 3 or 4 years in a row at a little over $15 million in our education fund, I said a general rule of thumb is always about 3 payrolls. So that's about $4.5 million, which, as I said, we're way over that amount. So that's how that rule of thumb kind of came through our IASBO business manager process over the last 25 years of me doing this job. Just knowing that was always a good cushion to have. If you could maintain 3 or 4 payrolls in your reserve, that's a good balance to start out. So when we would explain that to the Standard & Poor's people for the last 3 years, it seemed like it was a good time to formalize that a little bit better. And we just focused on education fund. If we would tie our hands to the rainy day or operation, I just didn't want to do it yet for flexibility wise, and felt like at least let's start out with, let's just address liquidity and balance for the education fund.
So the second part of that, where I was gonna go, is with the state, I can't think of a time we've had problems with our draws, or whatever you wanna call them, like funding, right?
Right, we have not.
Okay.
But funny that you mentioned that, clear back in about 22, 23 years ago, when they were playing games with us, they sent us 5 state basic grants between January 1 and June 30th to try to make the state balance look better for July 1st, and then they'd send us 7 payments in the last half. That messed up school districts' money, because then everybody had to go out and borrow with cash flow loans. That's what you had to do. And so that really wrecks your reserve balances and makes schools have to go out and borrow money. So they eventually realized that's probably not good math. That made the state look better, but it did not make the schools. We have not had to do that since the state did that. And obviously for us at Muncie, we've definitely not had to do that on our cash balance since December of 2018. Basically, that's the last time we had cash flow loans at Muncie schools was in 2018, and those were, when I say a cash flow loan, that's when you borrow money within 12 months. So you borrow it in January, you pay it back in December, it's paid off by the end of the year. It's to give you cash to operate during the year. We have not had to do that since we paid off those last loans in December of 2018. So far, so good with the way we've been handling things. But this at least gives us something where we had nothing before. And I think it just helps the rating agency where they can say, hey, at least we have a policy, we're looking at it. So.
Thank you. I had one other question, if we could, and it deals with the purchasing procedures and capital assets.
Okay.
If I may.
Yeah.
Stricken throughout here is the 4 state-funded purchases and $250,000 for federal purchases. What changed?
Yeah, they were going to allow us to go up to 250, and right now, I'm given the authority to make purchases up to 150, and it seems like let's just keep it at that.
That's okay.
In other words, if I have to do something over 150, I would come to you, the school board, and say we're doing something, bigger than 150,000, and so that's.
It was internally driven, not.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
got it.
right.
Thank you.
And it's not like we have a lot of things that come up that we would have to do over 150 anyway. I mean, obviously, like our big bond project, or when we've done renovations with our food service kitchens, those are all things that have been brought to the school board.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else with that? I entertain a motion. We
Move to approve.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. I've got a note here about a motion to waive the second reading. Is that relevant?
It goes in there, so a lot of.
That was what we-
policies, the second reading now, so the whole time, so we usually wait a second to adopt right away.
Okay, all right. So it's adopted. Okay, all right. We have any comments from the board at all? Any dialogue?
I do. I just have, I think it was mentioned earlier about our bond rating, as we sold bonds, but we also have received our bond rating. And I think it's important, particularly for those constituents out there, to note a couple of things about that bond rating. First of all, the strength of our financial staff. Brad and his staff are noted, but those ratings of stable underlying rating of BBB+ is very good. With a long-term rating of AA+, which is really, really good. And I think that's because of a lot of reasons. But part of that rating, and when Brad talks about dealing with rating services, they look under the hood pretty hard. And what they're looking at is they're looking at the success that Eric and Sean and Kelly are having in the classroom. They're looking at our enrollment, they're looking at our cash reserves, and they're looking at the leadership of the district. And that's a big deal. And what those ratings, the story the ratings tell, is that we're a district who is solid. It's a district who is delivering what we're supposed to, not only to the bondholders, but to our constituents or our taxpayers. Our long-term debt, we mentioned the state loan. That was a $12 million loan 7 years ago, and in 2 years, it's going to be zero. And that's a big deal. The bonding capacity that we have is more than twice what our bonds are out there. Borrowing capacity is, and our intent is not to borrow more money unless we have to. And I think that's really an important thing. And so hidden in some of the things that have happened over the last month or two is I think some really underlying issues that we'll a big debt of gratitude, to the teachers who are in the classrooms teaching, and then the ability that we've had to manage the resources that we've had. So I just want to make sure that we recognize those. Chuck,
great.
you
Yeah,
and your
yeah.
team for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Those bond ratings calls are like taking a final exam. And it's not like an open book test, but you got to know the answers. And several people at this table have sat there for those bond rating calls. And they do look, when you say look under the hood, they are really smart people. And because they have to be, because they have to protect those bondholders. So it's something you expect that they're going to ask you the tough questions. And we were prepared very well for it, but it's been a very good process to go through.
Yeah.
Well, that 3.11% for the recent bond issue is indicative of the fact that our ratings are really good, which costs us less money to borrow money. It's just a cyclical thing. You talk about your spiral evaluation. It's one of those exact same issue, only applied to us as a district. So great job.
That's great. Anything else from the board? You have any media? Okay, no media? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Moved and It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned.
Well done.
Hey, see you guys.
Hey.
Thank
That's right. Yep. Oh, that's right. And one meeting, that's right.
One meeting
That's right.
next month.
It's on the 11th, yeah.
Yeah.
One meeting till